But I feel every human being should be out there serving their love, their true love to everyone. I feel like love is lacking. Social media is great, but everyone is just so distant from one another.
Influencer Insight shares the battles, stories, successes of models, influencers, and entrepreneurs as they find the balance of being influential leaders today while creating long-lasting impact for the future. Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another session of Influencer Insights, where I have Rohini from Calgary joining me tonight, and she's a model. She works in the medical field, and she's also a director at Numa Network, modeling agency based out of Calgary. So welcome, Rohini. Glad to have you.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here with you, excited to share my journey, and definitely, happy to be during the podcast with you today.
Awesome. Well, thank you. So glad that you took the time to share. I know everybody's got busy lives and you're busy doing about 5 different things. So it's really nice that you found an hour for us. So tell us a little bit about your background. You grew up in Calgary. How did you get started modeling? How did the medical field, how did you get into those kind of things? Much as you want to share there. So
yeah, born and raised in Calgary. Starting off with my medical profession, background wise, I am East Indian. So anyone who's listening who kind of relates to that sort of life, you have to make your parents proud. And medical is usually kind of the route that all of our East Indian parents want their children to go into.
Safe, right?
Yes, exactly. It is safe. There's a little bit of trauma there though, because we're trying to want to venture off into, the different type of career paths.
Mm-hmm.
You do get a lot of negativity, a lot of stress put over top of your shoulders with your parents kind of making sure that we're getting, the top grades all the time. The consistency really breaks down to wanting to make your parents proud.
Right.
So I did kind of venture down that avenue, graduated. I actually am in ultrasound. So that did take a lot of effort and time, but made it through. And then in 2019, actually, I started with Numa. So this is something I did on my own. My parents did not support me through that journey. It was a bit stressful, very honestly challenging at times because you're kind of just sitting there going back and forth, really thinking that if it's really worth it to step out of your comfort zone, really maybe risk your relationship with your parents at times. But it did work out. I did take that stepping stone. Numa has been there throughout my whole journey, really guiding me through the process, working with a bunch of photographers on the roster. I actually did a magazine which got published. I did speak about my journey.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Really like the strength and courage it takes a lot of individuals to really kind of break out of your parents' control and the norm of making them happy. So past that, I was modeling for about 2 years with Numa, and then I joined their team as a development director. So I do also coach as well. I am an industry prep with them as well. I do love teaching individuals, really making them feel comfortable coming into the modeling world. It is something different.
Sure.
So just happy to be here, honestly. Yeah, it took a lot, but kind of my life turned out the way that it should have. So
you're starting to see some of those things unfold as they meant to be, right? So
exactly, yes.
Cool.
Definitely.
That's very exciting. So if you don't mind jumping back a little bit to being in school and obviously feeling a little bit of pressure to pursue the medical or something, again, safe. What was that like when you kind of realized that maybe, I need to do this, but I also kind of want to maybe do this modeling thing, or maybe there was some other passion that you had? What was it kind of working through those emotions? How did you feel?
It's actually really difficult. It was always a challenge mentally because internally, for anyone who wants to pursue a career that may not be accepted by your parents or by society in general, it really takes a toll on you mentally because you're really just sitting there at the end. You're really trying to focus on what you should be working on towards, like, being on the medical path, but sitting there very unhappy within yourself.
Right.
And it really just drains a lot of energy out there. Like I wasn't as bubbly as I am today, really reserved. And you're just really fighting with yourself all the time. When you're seeing other models, publications, things like that, that you want to see yourself in, you're not able to pursue it. It really, breaks you down as a person, and you don't really have too many other outlets in regards to support, especially when you don't have an open relationship with your parents sometimes when it comes down to, your career choices. So it was really difficult. But I went through it just to make my parents proud, to be honest. So at least when I did graduate, it was a huge relief off of my shoulders. That stress was gone. And then past that, at the same time, I am grateful because I do have medical is a career that you can rely on consistently. So I have that at least to fall down on. So
100%.
it is great and I'm grateful for that. But at the same time, it's been challenging for
Yep.
sure.
What what was the moment when you, because like I'm guessing in kind of the household there was always this expectation, oh, Rohini's going to get into medical school or whatever it was. What was the moment or the catalyst thing that came up that was like, I kind of want to try that modeling thing?
When I graduated the program. I
Okay,
always knew I've always been a rebel at heart. So I
cool.
always knew, hey, I have to be diplomatic here. As much as the toll it took on me mentally,
Hmm.
I always had in the back of my mind that fire of, okay, I'm going to get this done. I'm going to work
Yes,
towards this challenge for me because it ended up becoming a challenge. Like, yes, I was good in it, grades were good, but I really didn't want to be pursuing medical. I didn't really want to be there. So my focus wasn't there
right.
100%. It's not something that I was proud of, something I wanted to really take my time and study. So my end goal mentally, how I really had to really come about it and embrace it and be okay with finishing graduation was
Hmm.
just saying at the back of my mind, when I do this, I'm gonna kind of step out of it and pursue modeling and not care about what my parents think at that point because I made them proud in my head mentally. I'm okay with that and I want to go pursue what I really want to get into.
Cool. Well, that's quite honoring to them too. I think that's a pretty fair trade in the long
Yeah,
scheme of
exactly.
things.
Yeah, I want to keep a good relationship with my parents. It's really hard to find that balance.
Absolutely.
So really having outlets, like I listen to a lot of podcasts throughout my journey as well to kind of just get me into that positive mental state when I was, really plummeting and finding things
Nice.
challenging. Yeah.
Nice. So
Mhm.
you waited till you got out of school, finished
Yes.
that part up. What was the first kind of thing that you did to move yourself into the modeling thing? Did you just go look for an agency right away, or did you do some test shoots? Or
Yeah. So the first step was I always had my eye out on Numa. So ever
okay,
since I was, 14 to 16, I was already doing my research, already knowing which agencies I wanted to work with.
hmm,
So I really just took the leap. I took pictures of myself and I applied to agencies within Calgary. I got selected with Patty Faulkner and Numa.
cool.
So with Patty Faulkner, I was in acting actually, and then with Numa, I started up with modeling,
Oh
and
wow,
it was nerve-wracking, but hey, I knew it's something I've always wanted to do, and I took on the challenge of completing my graduation with medical, and put that aside. And to me, applying to modeling, as crazy as it was, as scary as it was something that was my end goal.
sure. But
Yeah.
if you're like me, when I applied to agencies and I got accepted or got some interviews and that sort of thing, it felt like you were actually making something happen at that point too, right? It's not
Oh
just
yeah,
like, hey, I'm
it's
gonna
an
do this,
ecstatic
but
feeling. Yeah, it really is. Yeah, it's nervous at the same time because you don't know if they're gonna like you or not. You
yeah,
start doubting yourself a little bit. Your self-esteem kind of goes a bit down because it is a competitive market at the end of the day. When you
always.
initially get that, yeah, I initially got the email back from both of them, I was like on cloud nine at that point. I was really, really excited.
Na 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 na
Yeah,
na. Yeah.
exactly. Like I finally did this. Yeah.
Right on. So good for you. How did you start doing? Because I think anybody that's in this industry knows you got to do,
Yeah.
you got to build your portfolio up, right? That's the first thing they tell you. It's usually
Yes.
$500 to do a shoot, no matter where to start. What was some ways that you got started in getting your portfolio built?
So luckily for me, because post graduation, I obviously was working. So for me, that initial investment was not as big. So I know from an industry standpoint that portfolio development is huge because that's how we attract our clients.
Hmm.
And of course, it's something I wanted to pursue full heartedly. It's not something I wanted to like dip my toes into, baby steps in. It's something that I knew I wanted to get my face out there. And I would pretty much do whatever it took for me to really kind of get that launch into my career. So
Cool.
right away, I got into my test shoot, got amazing pictures from it, and it really does pay off that initial investment. You do see the return. You do
Okay.
have to be available for a lot of the opportunities. I
Yes.
also, took my training classes with Numa. It does help to be educated. That goes a very, very long way because you feel confident when you
What
go
kind
into
of
castings.
what kind of education classes did you take through Numa?
It was industry prep. So you learn the ins and outs of the model lingo. Pretty much you learn about what a casting is. You learn everything that you need to know in regards to really be professionally packaged in the modeling world. So
Cool.
it's a lot of different terminology, different things that, as a regular person, you don't really know. You learn portfolio development. You learn how to work on your skill set. We learned poses because that's different on every single body structure and it's huge huge. That's the main thing for a model. You have to know how to pose. So
Yes.
the way you have that guidance, you have that knowledge, as well as walking, and you are able to take that home, absorb it, and then really practice. It comes down to practicing on your own time.
Cool.
Yeah.
And if somebody's just getting started in the industry, those are the kind of things to be looking for, right? How to develop those things I mean,
Oh,
we all have some idea whether we can do it or not, but until you get the training or the feedback, that's a big piece, right?
Of course, it really relates to any sort of real life job, honestly. You start off kind of at the bottom tier. You have to build your skill set. You have to know what you're doing. You take, some training courses, seminars, whatever it is.
Yep.
And then you really grow from that, right?
No,
Yeah.
absolutely. So doing some shoots now, you've got a few under your belt. What are some of the coolest shoots that you've gotten to do?
Yeah, the
Coolest
coolest
locations?
one probably for me was Mercedes commercial.
Cool.
Definitely by far. I actually got selected to drive the Mercedes car as a sports car.
Nice.
Don't ask me which one. I am a cars person, but I don't remember which one they let me drive. We got to go out to Drumheller. So that was just really fun, just having a really good time. It was scorching hot, but it was just overall fun. The whole drive out there, the time that we shot, we had a couple of lines here and there, and it really makes a big difference when you get to work with other talents, not only models, but like photographers, videographers who all
Right.
have a, such a great vibe.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's just the best time ever. Probably
Good
one of
day
my
that
favorite.
way.
Sure. Yeah,
Cool.
definitely.
Did they let you speed in the Mercedes or?
No. We had to wash that car. I don't even know how many times because we kept getting dirty.
Oh yeah, I suppose especially out
Yeah, on
there,
the
right?
back
So
roads. Yeah, yeah. It kept getting dirty and they're like, hey, we have to go get it washed, have to make it look good for the commercial.
of course.
Yeah, and then I also did a Hudson's Bay publication in a magazine, so that was really fun.
Nice.
You feel really, really good about yourself to see yourself published in a magazine. It's a great way to kind of just reflect.
Yeah.
And I went through a lot of mental turmoil going through medical and whatnot to finally get here. So,
Yep.
It's a great feeling.
Yeah, crossing over and picking up like I did for Sport Check, and so I went to the store in my local town and I found myself in a flyer, and I'm like,
Yeah,
this is pretty nuts, right? So
I know. I did sports check too, and I actually missed my publication on their website.
oh no.
Don't tell you. So I saw myself in the flyer because one of my friends actually was like, "Hey, Rohini, you're in the flyer," and I had no idea. That's the one thing is that they don't tell you when you're going to be published.
Yeah, you
So
just
where are you going
appear
to
or
be?
you don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh geez. Well, at least you
Yes.
got the print anyway. That's the main thing, right? So
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I kept it. I had
cool.
to go to a lot of other stores to make sure that I was able to find a print. So it was very last minute, but I
Yeah.
still.
Running around everyone to try and
Oh, I did. I did.
good. It's worth it. Totally worth
It
it.
totally
Okay,
is.
so
Yeah.
so now that you've started the modeling thing and you've
Yeah.
basically self-developed your own career, watching somebody else get started now, do you have advice for them?
Oh, I have lots of advice. Is this someone
Cool.
starting to get into the industry who's already in the industry?
Let's say somebody that just ran across this podcast and is like, I maybe want to be a model. I don't know how to start.
Okay, so how you'd start. First step, of course, is just really take that courage and really apply to the websites. Okay, so apply on their applications, submit your pictures, as daunting as it is. If it's something that you really want to pursue, even if it's something that you're kind of wishy washy about, you're like, I don't know if I have the looks or if I have the height, you really don't know your potential until you actually apply.
Right.
Okay, I know it's nerve wracking, it's scary, it's something different, but you really just don't know where it's going to end up. Okay, everyone's beautiful in their own way. I truly am a big advocate for it.
Absolutely.
I see beauty in every single individual out there, and there is no other person who looks like you. So you are your most beautiful self, and if you see yourself ever being out published in a magazine, campaign, commercial, whatever it may be, you love brands, you want to associate yourself to brands, modeling is such a great endeavor. It opens up so many different opportunities for you. It's a great networking source.
Yes.
Just take that leap of faith and apply. You have to apply.
That's a good way to start. What are some things that people need to be cautious about when they decide to enter in? Because everybody wants to dive in, but sometimes
Yeah, if
there's
you guys want to dive in, one thing I would be very cautious of, just to be mindful more so, I would say actually, is that it is a competitive industry. Okay, not everybody gets picked right off the bat, and that is completely normal. This is because it really breaks down to our clients. So clients are the ones to pick the models. Okay, so there is a bit of bias that kind of goes around because they obviously are looking for certain individuals with certain looks.
right.
Not to say that not everyone is beautiful, but sometimes if you're looking for an individual who's brunette with brown eyes, that may not be you. Okay,
Yeah.
so you wouldn't get obviously picked for that. You wouldn't get an interview for that. Nothing like that. Other than that, it is competitive as well. There are a lot of other individuals who also share, similar appearances. So sometimes, if you're not quick enough to respond to those opportunities that are sent your way, you can miss out on opportunities. Or sometimes when you do meet with clients, other models who may have more images in their portfolio, they could get selected over you. It really breaks down to your experience as well, how confident you are, how well you walk. So once again, that really breaks down to you practicing on your own and your skill set. So just to be mindful of that because it is so competitive, there are so many other factors that break into why you maybe weren't selected for this opportunity. It doesn't mean that you're not a good model. It doesn't mean that you're not good looking. It doesn't mean that you don't have a great personality. It just means that you weren't right for that specific, client or that brand. And
Absolutely.
don't let that shy you away from applying, because it really breaks down to, especially more so with Numa, we give out all the opportunities to the models. Their models are the ones who have to come back to us and confirm their availability and share their interest in this opportunity.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Two-way street that way, right? So if you got the opportunity, take advantage of it,
Yeah,
show
take
up.
advantage of it, show up, apply yourself to it, because other than that, we can't hold every single model's hand to say, why did you not apply to this booking? You'd be a
Yeah.
perfect fit, things like that. Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people would appreciate that, but man, they're
I'm
like,
sure they would.
holy.
A little bit of a push into the right direction. Like, I know I see the potential and you just apply. I wish I
Yeah,
could. I wish I could sprinkle some like fairy dust on everybody, give them that momentum, that spark of just apply. It's not going to do anything other than, really putting yourself out there and maybe potentially getting picked. Like, what's
sure.
the worst that could happen? Honestly, you not getting picked. Is that really going to really affect your growth? No,
Right.
unless you let it.
And if you're maybe not getting picked, maybe it's a good opportunity to say, okay, maybe I'll go develop my portfolio a little bit more too, right?
Well, of course, yeah. If you feel that you've been applying to a couple of opportunities and you don't see yourself, getting selected, then there is something that may be causing that issue. So it could break down to your portfolio development. It could break down to maybe just your simple poses, your expressions.
Right.
Yuma is a non-exclusive agency, so we do give freedom and flexibility to models to work with their own development. I'm sorry, with their own photographers, freelance photographers. Sometimes those pictures are lacking in regards to industry standard, and they're
Yeah.
not showcasing the model in the best light possible. So it could
Right.
really also break down to that.
Yeah.
Of course, we have development directors on board. So you can always book in development meetings and talk to us really and ask us, hey, what do you think? And we're always there to give models positive feedback and criticism if needed, but it's always positive. It's always there for models to really help them grow and flourish.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's some pretty good advice. Since you're a development director, what are some for models that are getting started, social
Yeah.
media, what are some tips that people want to jump into there?
Social media, you guys, everyone needs to learn how to be safe first and foremost.
Yeah, no joke.
Yeah, it's a scary world out there, definitely. Anyone who wants to have their own social media platform in regards specifically to modeling, okay, we do recommend to have your own separate modeling page. This is more so for individuals who are over the age of 18, okay? You don't want to get yourself too like politically involved. You don't want to leave like opinionative comments on posts.
Yeah,
If you want to have a fun night out and you post some inappropriate content, to say it in the nicest way possible,
too many
those are
waddly
things
pops.
that those are things that could actually really hinder your success in the modeling world. Okay. I know for a fact, and I can, share this with everyone who's listening,
Sure.
models have lost out on opportunities even after they've been selected from clients, because
Hmm.
clients can easily search you up. And if they see something that they don't like that a model is doing, so say if it's excessive drinking, slurring, like swearing, whatever it may be, they will then drop that model because they don't want that model associated to their brand.
Right.
Okay. Anything can be like screen recorded, screenshot, all of that jazz is out there. It's really not worth the risk of losing out an opportunity.
Yes.
As a model, you have to think of it too. This is like your own side business, okay? Because you're putting all this investment in, you're putting all this effort in. You're the one who's having to confirm your availability. So it's your own little side business that you're having to run, and you can't have negative content out there that could come bite you. It
Yes.
really will affect your growth. So we do recommend having your own public model page on Instagram, but just have it specifically to your modeling pictures. Okay. Don't overload content on your modeling page. It's always kind of quality over quantity, we always say. So you don't want to do a photo dump of yourself. You don't want to give the client too much exposure either. So you want to limit that content, post really beautiful, handsome, gorgeous pictures out there to attract that client base. Other than that, just keep it very light on Instagram. Same thing with TikTok. TikTok's a huge platform for a lot of our models. We actually do have models who are quite popular with their little wardrobe outfit videos that they do. It's a great way to catch attention.
Yes.
But past that, your other page should be completely private. Okay, so that world is completely separate from your modeling world.
No, that's great advice and stuff to be considering. I think
Yeah,
that's
just to be mindful.
really
Especially if
important.
you're out there and you're younger and you think you want to, have fun and you post things, you don't know how it's going to reflect on you when you're a little bit older.
Yeah.
There's things that we do when we're younger, we look back and you're like, what in the world were we doing? That is not, who I am anymore. It's not something I relate to.
Yeah.
So just those things. And because it's so accessible to everybody, it's very, very, very important to just double think all of the things that you're posting out there on social media, especially when you are a now professional model with an agency.
I've been on Facebook for like, I don't even want to tell you how long it's been, probably like 17, 18 years. Like, and like,
Round of applause, everybody. Yes.
yeah. And it's the same account. That's kind of the crazy
Oh
part.
my
But
gosh. That's even better.
I hate those memories though, because when I was like 10,
Oh my
12 or
God,
whatever it
yes.
was, and you're like,
Yep.
geez, man, like, what were you thinking? Like, you can't post stuff like that, right?
Oh,
So,
I know. Yeah.
so
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
yeah.
I don't
So
even know. Does anybody even use Facebook anymore? Do you still actively use Facebook?
I'm on Facebook a lot actually. So, but I'm a part of that crowd. Okay. So
Not me.
sue me. No
Oh,
worries.
that's funny.
Cool.
Yeah.
So being in the modeling industry, you definitely have seen some and felt some, I'm sure, pressure that comes along with being a public figure,
Yep.
being in the spotlight and that sort of thing. How does that affect kind of the mental side of things, right? Because I mean, there's the excitement of being around a modeling model,
Yep.
but then there's a lot of pressure that comes along with it too, right?
Yeah, I don't feel too much pressure to be honest, because it's something that I've wanted for such a long time. It was
Good
a
for
fire
you.
inside of me ever since I was young. So I more so feel excited when I
Cool.
have a challenging situation thrown at me. Whenever I'm modeling, whether it's I'm doing a commercial shoot or on a photo shoot, and if a photographer is directing you, or if it's a videographer and they're throwing things at you that you weren't aware of, that would basically have to be done at this shoot. It's
Yeah.
something that I gladly take on as a challenge, and I get excited and I
Cool.
look forward to kind of just improvising. I really like
Nice.
doing that. So, other than that, pressure wise, sometimes I can definitely relate to other models' experiences, whether it's walking for fashion shows, things like that. It is pretty normal for everybody to start comparing to one another.
Mhm.
So I can definitely see that aspect of it where the pressure builds in regards to your performance.
Yeah.
So if you are walking a runway and you have other beautiful individuals and they're walking ahead of you and now you're comparing their walk and then now you're double thinking your walk, things like that, the
Yeah.
pressure can build. I would say in those moments, just take a deep breath in, really just trust in yourself, believe in yourself. You made it this far. You've been selected this far for a reason. You
Right.
know you have that skill set. You just have to break all that nervousness down and really just own it.
Yes.
Like you are special as an individual. You have something special in you that you've come this far. Like taking it back from the moment of should I be applying to modeling or should I not? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely. No, that's pretty good. Remember your why and why you started, right? So
100%.
Rohini in her personal life, what are some, because you're obviously very positive, you seem to have your mindset developed really, really
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
And coming from your background and dealing with some of the pressures of your parents and that kind of thing, what
Yeah.
what are some exercise or things that you do in your life that kind of keep you focused forward, I guess, and positive?
Yeah, the exercise, I always listen to positive podcasts all the time. I don't
What's your
have a
favorite?
specific one I don't have a
No?
specific one I listen to, like Tony Robbins, I like to listen to
Yeah.
Jay Shetty, like the norms
Nice.
of everyone out there.
Cool.
Those are the individuals who I listen to. I always look at mentorship. Okay, I don't have a mentor right now, but when I initially started off and I started reaching to someone, I did have a mentor to help me along my
Hmm.
journey. It's really hard to know who to talk to sometimes without being judged. I feel like people have that fear of, even if
Yes.
you have a lot of best friends who are close to you, your siblings, whoever it may be, personally speaking, I always had a fear of, if I say too much to this person, will I be judged, or will it come back and bite me if you've had an argument with someone and it gets thrown to you? Because I've gone through that personally, where basically say something to someone in privacy, and then during an argument, they try to use it against you. And so it's hard. So definitely kind of to bring that positivity, I reached out to a mentor. I was able to kind of go onto the right path through teachings, through practice. I try meditation, but I'm too all over the place. So I haven't reached that part of Zen in my life yet. But really just listening to podcasts when I'm like driving out going to work, rather than listening to music or listening to the news going on in the world. I listen to podcasts. I also read a lot of books. I know that books are a bit of an old time past, but it's something that I feel like was put out there in the world. I feel like we can learn a lot from history, and so I like to read a lot of novels, a lot of positivity novels as well.
Nice.
And then poems. I love poems.
Okay.
Yeah, Rupi Kaur is one of the individuals who I listen to, and I love to relate to the artistic side of her, and I find peace within her lyrics. So whatever it is for individuals, wherever you find peace, whether it's listening to super loud rock music or whatnot, it doesn't have to be super zen, super quiet, nothing of the norm. But I feel everyone is different. For me, it was the podcast. It was listening to a very calm voice, someone who I've looked up to, someone who I did my research on, and would I want to be like this individual? Then I want to start knowing their full history. I want to do all my research on them, and then I want to learn everything that they are now teaching other people.
Absolutely. What like, did you just stumble across a podcast and realize how awesome that was, or did somebody suggest that to you? Okay. Good for you.
Just scrolling through on Spotify, actually.
Great app.
And through Spotify, you actually have like genres and like podcasts that pop up. Right. And so I just started scrolling through that. I started listening into podcasts. I always have my notebook in hand, and I'll start writing things down. After I listen to it, write things down, and then I'll just take some time alone with my own thoughts and really think about what this individual was preaching and how I can relate my life to it.
Cool. Yeah. Well, it sounds like you're stretching into some of the meditation stuff, even if it's more self-reflective than it is.
A little bit. Yeah.
Doesn't need to be the music and the like bells and stuff like that either, right? So
I guess, yeah. I just can't close my eyes, and I can't get rid of like the noise or like the million thoughts that pop up in my head. It's too hard.
Well, that's why you write it down, right? There's beauty in journaling too, right? So
100%. Yes.
Cool. No, those are some really good tips and things that people can definitely take to heart too. I think it's really important to remember that we are so unique, and I've heard that a lot in what you've been saying tonight, and to celebrate how unique we all are, right? So
100%. Yeah, I totally agree with that. Everyone has their own journey. Everyone has their own way of coping. It's just trying to learn their coping mechanisms. Because if you're an individual who really hasn't been given that opportunity to have open conversations growing up, it is really difficult to open yourself up. I feel like you have to start from the root within. You have to be very accepting of the traumas, the issues, circumstances that are thrown your way, and just know that it wasn't your fault. It may have happened to you, and just accept you've gone through this, you've made it this far, and let's just kind of break down those barriers and work towards, your true happiness.
Yeah, I love that. So find a mentor, listen to some podcasts, journal about it. Reflect on that.
Be happy. Yeah.
Be happy.
Be happy. When you're truly happy, when you literally are doing nothing and you can just smile out of the blue. That's when you're happy. Yeah.
That's a great way to look at the world for sure. So
yeah.
So next couple of years for Rohini, where do you want to see this modeling thing go?
Oh, I would love to see it develop. I'm on the right path right now with like my development career with Numa. I do love teaching, as I've mentioned before. So I'm pretty happy with where I am right now. And I would love to take it further, being able to just kind of access more of a platform for teaching. I do teach across Canada, since we do operate across Canada and 3 locations in the States. But I would love to eventually be more personal with all of the models on the platform. So to be able
Sure.
to travel, to meet all of our beautiful models in person, to kind of teach you guys more so with walking and posing,
Yeah.
and just really be a mentor in that way. So more hands-on with the rest of the platform within Canada. I see myself hopefully going in that direction in the next 3-4 years. Fingers
Cool.
crossed. Yeah.
How often do you get to travel right now?
It's here and there. It's not too often, to be honest. I obviously our head office is in Calgary. I have
Yeah.
gone to Vancouver and Edmonton, but that's it. So you haven't seen the rest of a roster, which is, of course, all across Canada.
Maybe
Yeah,
Regina next.
maybe.
Yeah.
You have to win me over, minus the snow.
Come in the summertime. It's a lot better, I
In the
promise.
summertime, yeah. You can pick me up in a tractor. How about
I
that? Yeah.
I could probably arrange that for you, to be honest with you.
Let's
So,
do it.
uh, cool. What are some ways that people can get a hold of you if they wanted to connect, maybe talk about Numa, or maybe they
Of
just want to
course.
connect to you on a personal level? What are some ways people can do that?
Yeah, there is, of course, Instagram. My Instagram is public. Instagram is something that I do continuously always look at. Also, of course, email here and there, but I feel Instagram is probably the easiest way for anyone to just reach out. And I know with Instagram, it's not as scary as maybe just texting someone out of the blue or
Yep.
calling them.
Yep.
It's more of a kind of safe space for a lot of people. So Instagram, I would say.
Like 3 pictures and send Rohini a DM after that, right?
Yeah,
So,
you don't even have to show me some love. Just send me a message, a heartful message, and I'll be sure to respond back to you. Yeah.
cool. That's awesome. People love that. So,
Yeah.
if Instagram, now that we're on that topic, or TikTok, or anything in the world ends up, or maybe Facebook even,
Not
if it
even big on TikTok. I don't know the platform.
whichever one is your favorite,
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
you blew up tomorrow and you ended up with 2 million followers overnight, what would be the message you'd want all of them to know?
But I feel every human being should be out there serving their love, their true love to everyone. I feel like love is lacking. Social media is great, but everyone is just so distant from one another, just not true to each other.
And a
So
lot of
just
hate
being
going on.
able to, yeah, and just being able to honestly like really love people for who they are. And it's not just digital love, it's authentic love.
Yeah.
We're also, you see, if you travel anywhere, go on a plane, whatever it may be, the airport, all that, everyone's always glued to their phones.
Yep.
That's the one thing I just wish that if I did blow up, that would be my message to everybody. Just like honestly, let's just like throw down our phones, get to know one another, just serve each other with true, authentic love.
Have a real conversation once in a while. Yeah.
100%. It go a
Cool.
long way.
That's
Yes.
awesome. I love that.
Yeah, I feel a lot of
And
people are lonely because of that too. So
yeah, the last couple of years have put us all in a box, and
yeah,
technology is great, but there's a point where it's time to move on too, right? So
I know. I feel people are even afraid to like smile at one another. I don't know if you've experienced that before, but
totally. It's like
you
weird.
just don't know how to go about it anymore.
Yeah, they're
Like
kind of like
this
looking
person. Yeah,
up and
exactly. Like, let me just text. I'm gonna look up, and this person seems nice, but like, do
yeah,
I throw a smile? Maybe I'll just half smile it and like just
yeah.
keep walking your merry way.
It's boundaries. Boundaries. You got to have those
Yeah,
bounds,
exactly.
right?
Still be respectful, but hey, like you can throw a smile at someone. You can tell them they look good.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Get used to that kind of stuff because the world needs that, right? So
yeah, the world does.
cool. I love that a lot. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, Rohini. I think you've given a lot of great advice to people and people that are looking at getting into the industry. It doesn't need to be scary if you take the right steps, right? And remembering that to love one another, work together. I think that goes a long way. So thank you.
Yes, of course. And I just want to mention that, it may be scary. It probably will be scary, let's be honest. But please take that stepping stone. It does take a little bit of courage, just a little bit. But I guarantee you that if you see something, worthwhile in yourself, and you have this sort of feeling that I want to model, I should apply, just apply.
Yeah.
That
Cool.
what's going to happen realistically? You're going to get accepted. You're going to get an interview, right? Like, just think about all the good. You have to believe in yourself. You really have to, I don't want to be cliche here, but just kind of manifest that positive energy.
Yes.
Anything in life, you never know where you're going to end up unless you apply. It is a little bit of a risk, but that's like anything. Yeah.
Greater the risk, the higher the reward too, right? So
Sometimes, except for Bitcoin.
except for Bitcoin. Hey, that'll come back. Just
Maybe.
all in
Maybe.
good time.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yes.
Well, we'll leave it for now, but hopefully we'll catch up down the road again after some time passes, and we'll see how your modeling career is going, and hopefully somebody connects with you in some of those development shoots as well. So
Yes, by all means. Thank you so much for your time today. And once again, thank you for all of the listeners who are tuning in. Greatly appreciated.
absolutely.
And I hope everyone learns one message from this. It's to, just be happy within yourself and truly love yourself for who you are.
Beautiful. Love that. Cool.
Okay.
Well, take care for tonight.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm signing off. Take care. Okay. Bye.